let's say Hollywood wanted to take one of the Dan books?
Yeah, I think it's probably unlikely that Hollywood will take one of the Dan books. I mean, there's a producer out in the US who's bought the rights to the Chinaman now, and that might make it as a movie. And there's sort of various Hollywood interest from time to time with some of my previous books. The problem with Dan Shepard, or Spider as he's called, is he's very much an English character. He's an undercover, well, it's the Serious Organised Crimes Agency, it's the sort of British FBI. So his stories are very much set in the UK, and really Hollywood prefers stories generally to be set in the States. Also, the stories are very much set in the present. I mean, I wrote one called Soft Target, which had suicide bombers on the London Tube. And, you know, that's probably not going to happen again. I wrote another one about suicide bombers on the Eurostar. And I'm not sure whether people would want to watch a movie about that. You know, when you're in a world where terrorism is a real problem, do people really want to watch fictional stories of it? I think possibly not. So I'm not sure whether they are Hollywood material. I think what's much more likely is that a British TV company might take them on and might produce a TV series, because I think they're probably more TV books than Hollywood.
But it's nitty-gritty, isn't it? Let's face it. And poor Dan, he's been through a lot. I mean, he was in the SAS, and then he can never admit to people he's been in the SAS. He has to say he's always a para. And then he goes into this undercover world all the time, and he befriends people for a living. And then he turns them in afterwards. And the main storyline is whether he's actually going to turn them in or do something worse.
Yeah, that's the big problem with Dan's life, or Spider's life. It's always been undercover. I mean, if you're in the SAS, you can't tell people you're in the SAS. If you're an undercover cop, which he was for 2 or 3 years, you can't tell people that. And now he's an undercover agent with SOCA, the Serious Organised Crime Agency. So he's got this whole secret life. And at the same time, as you say, he's got this private life where he's a single parent. He's got his son Liam, who's now 12 years old. I mean, we first met Liam when he was 8, so it's been going for 6 years. So on the one hand, he's going undercover to try and befriend drug dealers with a view to turning them in, but then he's got to go home and help his son with his homework. And in the book I'm just writing at the moment, they're about to get a dog. They're at the RSPCA pound, and they're going to go to the dog, and his au pair has always got problems. And really, that's what the real world is like. It's not a James Bond world. The guys who work for our intelligence services, for our police, for customs, they all have lives. Most of them are married, most of them have kids, most of them have 3-bedroom, semi-detached houses and a 4-year-old car. And on the one hand, they lead this life which is dangerous and dramatic and undercover and secret. And on the other hand, they're in Sainsbury's on a Friday filling up the supermarket trolley. And a lot of books don't deal with that. A lot of books you never go back and see James Bond doing his laundry or doing his ironing. You never see most TV heroes in their sort of home setting. And the thing I like about Shepard is you see him doing dramatic things. He's firing guns, he's jumping out of aeroplanes, he's hanging out with gangsters. But then he's at home and he's got to make sure there's milk in the fridge and stuff like that. So I think it's the balance that people enjoy.
Stephen, tell me, Dan Shepard is very, very, very knows all his arsenal. Let's put it that way. Did you find it hard?
It's funny. I know a fair bit about guns, and most of the weaponry that I write about I've fired, but I do make mistakes. In fact, in live fire, I've got a horrendous mistake where I have a guy it's right at the beginning where there's a robbery, a guy pulls out a revolver and switches off the safety catch. Well, there aren't safety catches on revolvers, and I got about 6 emails from people pointing that out, and they're right. I think what happened was I had it as an automatic, but they got rewritten during the editing process, and I left the safety catch in. But revolvers generally, 99.9%, don't have safety catches. In one of my early books, I had a safety catch on a Glock, which is an automatic, but Glocks don't have safety catches. They have this double trigger arrangement, which functions as a safety. And I got a load of abuse over that. So I might appear to be knowledgeable, but I do from time to time make mistakes on the weaponry front.
You've also got a vast knowledge of how the system works, like how the police force works in the UK. How do you go about researching that? People would say, no, that's top secret, we're not telling you.
Oh, with the police stuff, I've got friends who are police and quite senior police. So with Soft Target, which is about armed police, a friend of mine was very high up in the SO19 or CO19 as it is, and he was able to brief me on it. I'm doing a book now about the Territorial Support Group, where Spider goes. The Territorial Support Group they're the sort of heavy mob in the police. You see them at riots. They were at the G20 meeting. They go to football matches. They're the guys you see in the black boiler suits with the helmets and the riot shields. And he's giving me a briefing on how they work. The internet is a huge help. I have to say, when I first started, the only way to find out something was to go and ask somebody. I wrote a book about a sniper called The Long Shot. And I wrote about a special rifle, the Barrett rifle. Now, to get information on that, I had to write to the company that made it, and they sent me a video to watch, and they sent me the manual of it, and I was able to use that information. In one of my more recent books, I wanted to know about a Dragunov sniper rifle, which is what the Serbs used in Sarajevo. You go into the internet, type in that, and you get 1,000 sites about it. So the internet has made things a lot easier. If I wanted, say, an Indian name, 10, 12 years ago, I'd have to go along to my local Indian restaurant, eat an Indian meal, and chat to the waiter and ask him about surnames and family names. These days, you literally go to Google and you type in Indian family names and you'll get lists and lists of them. So the internet has made it a lot easier. But in terms of getting the secret stuff, I've got friends who are undercover agents, mainly for customs, because I work for the Knot, which is a customs show, so I've kept in touch with those guys. I've got friends who work for SOCA, the Serious Organised Crime Agency, and they'll tell me stuff. And I've got a lot of friends in the police who will tell me stuff. So between knowing people and having the internet, it's not that difficult.
That's the other thing I was going to say is like in Live Fire that you've got the, I won't spoil it for people, but you've got the terrorists there. And the terrorists, their methods of moving things around like money, you said that they should always have paperback books, travel paperback books, so that they could take money with them.
Oh, and that came, I think, from one of my intelligence sources, said that one way of getting money out, you're not supposed to take huge amounts of money out of the country. One way of doing it is getting a paperback book and just slotting in £50 notes in every second page. When it goes through the detector, the metal detector, whatever, at the airport, it just looks like a book. So that's one way. Another technique for passing information on the internet. In the old days, the bad guys would email each other, and of course the security forces have got systems in place to check emails as they're being sent. Now they don't send emails anymore. You open up an email account, say a Yahoo account. I will go, if I'm the bad guy, I'll go to that account, I'll write a message, but I'll leave it in the draft folder. You give the email address to your friend on the other side of the world, he logs onto the same account, goes to the draft folder, and reads the message. Because the message has never actually been sent, it can never be intercepted. So stuff like that comes from my friends in the intelligence service, and most of it is pretty accurate.
Okay, we're here in Pattaya today. Pattaya kind of doesn't get the best of rosy views from you when you read Live Fire. What's the reason for that? Have you had a bad experience in Pattaya in the past?
No, I mean, Live Fire is set partly in Pattaya. I mean, just to let people know what it is. It's about a group of armed robbers who've based themselves in Pattaya. They're living a sort of rock star lifestyle in this huge compound on the outskirts of the city. And they fund it by regular trips back to the UK where they commit audacious robberies. So you're looking at Pattaya through their eyes. You're not looking at it through the writer's eyes. You're looking at it through the eyes of Mickey and Mark Moore, who are a couple of gangsters who are out here living the life. So the only bits of Pattaya you see are the bars, the girls, and I guess the fights and the violence, and the gyms, the Fairtex gym, where they sort of exercise and work out. So you're seeing it through their point of view, and then you're seeing it through the point of view of the two undercover guys who come out here. So Dan Shepherd is out here, and then Jimmy Sharp, his Scottish friend, is out here. And Jimmy, he's on the edge of Boys Town. He's had a bit of a falling out with his boss, so his boss has put him in a hotel right on the edge of Boys Town.
In the penthouse.
In the penthouse, just to teach him a bit of a lesson. So you've got his view of, why am I in this hotel? Why are you in a nice hotel why are you in this luxury villa? And why am I in Boys Town? So no, you're seeing it through their point of view. So I've had no bad experiences here. I mean, it's a fun place to come. I've never come here, I guess, for more than 2 or 3 days at a time. That's always enough for me. I'm not sure I could live here. But no, and also I don't think it's a particularly negative view. I mean, you've read the book. It's not negative. But you're seeing the aspects of it that you would see through the eyes of a group of gangsters who are based out here. If people are
here for a good time, you'd see the same sort of thing. They're here for a holiday, and that's the view you seem to give of it.
Because of the characters. If I was writing about a family who'd come out here with kids, Then there'd be John Tim, they'd be on the beach, they'd be going go-karting, they'd be going horse riding, and you'd see a different side of Pattaya. I'm following it through the eyes of a couple of gangsters, and they see their view of Pattaya. Oh, okay, maybe I'll balance it, but if you, Shepherd can bring Liam out for a holiday, and they can have a holiday out here. Yeah.
Okay, so we're just about wrapping everything up now.